Excuse me, folks. Corsets are not easy to sit in. Good morning, everyone. Happy Halloween. Check out. I'm doing Day of the Dead. As obvious, I probably didn't do quite as a good job as last year, but I tried, folks. I started this shit at 1 a.m. Alright, so here's the dress. I got like layers of this. I love Halloween. Alright. Very stupid o'clock, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. And we're going to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we get going, folks, the usual disclaimers, alright? Alright, in the description box, folks, you're going to see the link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Center doesn't want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals with regards to JRC's quote-unquote behavioral modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this so much they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they do not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused to comply. So you know the drill. Please read that article, share on all your social media. We also have all the links in regards to the Agape boarding school situation. Agape boarding school is a Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that has, and pending, 21, at the very least, allegations, claims, and civil lawsuits so far that have been substantiated by the investigations done by the Missouri Department of Social Services. That includes allegations such as child abuse, sexual assault, sodomy, child trafficking, starvation. We're just touching the surface here. We've had one staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor who's still on the premises with the students, who's had multiple substantiated claims of sexual abuse and sodomy against the students there. We have an attorney general who's so busy lying his ass off about his opponent and kissing Donald Trump's ass that he can't do his job properly. Eric, you're never going to make it in Washington if you let a small county prosecutor in Stockton, of all goddamn places, to push you around like a little bitch, okay? Just saying. Share those articles on all your social media. Don't forget to sign and share the change.org Shut Agape Boarding School Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. We're reading Matthew Israel's Manifesto, the man himself, his own words. So you're going to hear victim blaming, gaslighting, out-and-out lies, and ableism. Rampant, horrible, blatant ableism. All throughout this entire document. So, trigger warning, alright? Alright, folks, this channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity and we talk about dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger, please, parental supervision is advised. It's 5:43 a.m. I have not gotten to my second dose of caffeine because I've been too busy painting my face. My God, you don't want to know how long it took me to get into a damn corset. Curse the people whoever came up with this shit. It's pretty, but my God. This is why the upper class had to have maids, folks. This is why they had to have maids and dressers. Just saying. This shit sucks to do by yourself. 2 hours. 2 goddamn hours. The pains I go to for Halloween, right? So if I stumble over my words, folks, apologies in advance, all right? Okay, so let's go to where we left off yesterday. All right, and let me take a swig of this. JRC has been licensed or approved continuously throughout its 39-year history, but by the State Education, Developmental Disabilities, and Child Care Departments of Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Funny that you mentioned Rhode Island, Doctor. Didn't they kick your sorry ass out due to child abuse? In fact, we have that marked, Doctor, in one of the reports that's come out against your school that was from the fucking 80s. Let me tell on the doctor a little bit. Rhode Island and California kicked his sorry ass out due to inhumane cruelty and treatment of the students. He ran with his tail between his legs to Massachusetts and has been there ever since. That is the actual truth of the matter. Maybe they were licensed in the beginning, but that didn't hold, did it, Doctor? No, it didn't. Because they saw the inhumane cruelty with what you treat us with and did not think it was treatment any more than I do. And they kicked your sorry ass out, didn't they? I just wanted to add that here because, again, Matthew Israel is blowing smoke up your ass. Let's also mention the fact that in the 80s, talking about licensing, their device, the FDA, GED 4A, and 3A, were not properly registered or licensed through the FDA. They remain unlicensed and used without permission to this very day. Let's also talk about the fact that paperwork, dotting all your T's and I's and being really good at paperwork does not mean what you do is not torture, Doctor. Also, let's talk about the courts, shall we? Something being court approved does not give you license to do it, Doctor. It does not mean it's not torture. The Massachusetts notes courts are known, famous throughout the whole world, in fact, to allow things like torture. And how do we know this? But folks, pick up a history book about the state of Massachusetts sometimes called the Salem Witch Trials. The only difference here is we traded witches for autistics and disabled people. Or did we? What did we find out about the witch trials? The majority of us were probably autistic or otherwise similarly neurologically inclined. People with physical disabilities, people with mental health issues. Yeah, it hasn't really changed all that much in Massachusetts, has it, Doctor? The Massachusetts Department of Developmental Services, DDS, has granted and renewed ever since 1986 JRC's special certification to use adversive behavioral procedures. Can I tell you why that is, folks? Because you got the court of Massachusetts by the balls, JRC. Okay? Can we call it what it is? You have been holding over Massachusetts' head for over 40 years now your consent decree, an outdated decree that is damn near 40 years old now. 40 years old. It has been questioned and put under threat multiple times. In fact, it is under threat now by your own fucking legislator. That is a lie. Matthew Israel is trying to tell you that they've never been questioned by their state ever. And that's just not true. Not true at all. At all. That 1986 date is important, folks, and the reason why is because that's when they got their consent decree. Because parents, especially the kind of parents that they prey on, who live in poor minority communities, don't have the kind of money to be able to fight people raking in millions of dollars every fucking year like the JRC can. It's bullshit and it's bad for you, folks. More than 15 different judges of the Massachusetts Probate and Family Court have, during the last 25 years, approved individual petitions by guardians on behalf of incompetent children and adults at JRC. Oh, you fucking ableist piece of shit. Incompetent. Incompetent. Funny how since Jennifer Masumba has left your hellhole, how she's lived independently with minor help ever since. Isn't it? Curious. Sorry, I'm going back to where I was. I lost my place there. It's absolute garbage. They're going to sit there and tell you, but you granted it. You don't understand. We're incompetent. Incompetent. I got your fucking incompetence. Doctor. Remember how I tell you they're going to blow smoke up your ass? And I'm so sorry that I lost my spot here. I'm trying to find it again. It's been a long morning, folks. Bear with me here. Okay. There we are. Sorry about that. They like to use the parents line and that the corpse approved it. They approved it. So it's perfectly safe. I see your argument and I raise you again. Salem witch trials. Massachusetts has a history, doctor. A long, dark history of allowing some horrific shit to go on with court approval. Okay? It's not the flex that you think it is. Quit using it. It's so easy to see through, it's sad. It really is. But let's go on here. To allow adverse therapy and individual modification treatment programs. Thousands of loving parents. Loving. If you sign your kid up for this shit, and it's not because they duped you, but because you are a true believer, you are the worst piece of human scum on the damn planet, and you don't deserve to raise so much as a fucking ant. You have no business being a parent if you send them to this hellhole. Sorry, not sorry. Including professionals at Harvard and NYU, as well as psychiatrists and pediatricians, have entrusted the care and rehabilitation of their children to JRC. Here we go again. They're going to appeal to authority. But these people are doctors and lawyers. And who are you? I'll tell you who the fuck I am, doctor. I'm your worst goddamn nightmare. That's what I am. I am an autistic who has proved time and again to be extremely incompetent. With the high IQ that you say I can't have, with damn near 40 years of lived experience, and over 14 years in the fucking field. I am all of the above, sir. And I'm coming for you. A lot of other people from other Ivy Leagues are also coming for you. ARC's coming for you. March of Dimes is coming for you. Sit down. Not to mention, considering the type of teachers Harvard has been churning out these days. I'm not calling any names. Michelle Dobner. Dobner. Man-hating Dobner. Not saying any names. I don't really hold them as the peak of turning out the best doctors, lawyers, and judges anymore. Just saying. But New York University! How long ago has it been since those clinicians went to NYU? 30? 40 years? Things have changed since then, doctor. But you wouldn't know that because you'd rather bury your head in the sand. Let's move on here. Former JRC students have voluntarily come before legislative committees to testify that the JRC saved their lives. Oh, but here's what they won't tell you about those kids who came to testify for JRC. You want to know what they came into the court looking like, folks? Visible for all the world to see. Those electrodes attached to their body, with an attendant 3 feet back, without remote control. Somehow, I don't find that kind of testimony valid, doctor. People will do anything when under threat of torture. That's why torture is no longer a relied upon method in order to extract information from folks. So you can take, but they've come forward and shove it directly up your ass. They're still on the device. They're still under threat of being shocked. Okay? Because you gave those devices to their parents, and we all know what happens if they misbehave, right? Again, not the flex you think it is. This paragraph that Matthew Israel put together here was so easy to tear apart, I didn't even have to try, folks. And all the receipts are in the description box, so just go there and read them all. These are lies. He doesn't tell you the context of what happened in 1986. I'll tell you. That was the investigation that was conducted after the death of Linda Corneliusen, a woman who died of an ulcer, suffering after several days of neglect from the JRC. In fact, they thought her moaning and her complaining because she was nonverbal was due to her having behaviors. Linda Corneliusen, during those last few days and hours of her life, literally the last 2 hours of her life before the ambulance was called, received over 80 fucking thousand adversives. 80,000. She's already in agony. 80,000 adversives. That is why Massachusetts tried to close them the fuck down back in 1986. But Matthew, he was already raking in the dough by that time, and he spent it well. Who knows who he bought to get his decree that he's been hanging like Damocles' sword over the Massachusetts courts for over 30 years. But that's the actual context of what happened in 1986. It was not the first or the last time. Matthew Israel and his school are directly responsible for the fucking deaths of 6 students. All during times under which they were having administered these adversive therapies. 6 kids are dead because of you, doctor. That hardly tells me adversives are safe and healthy and giving you freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from life? Freedom from the living? Because that's the only kind of freedom that it seems that you were giving those 6 kids. He's also not going to tell you that those doctors from Harvard, from NYU, have been there as long as he has. We're talking people who came from back in the day in the 70s, okay? We're not talking current students. Not to mention, have you looked at Harvard alumni lately? You want to talk about failing all over the goddamn place. My example, Rottenborn and Dobner. Okay? They're not exactly what they once were. So using them as a flex, again, doesn't work, does it? When you have a former student under threat, they're going to testify to whatever the hell you want them to testify to avoid torture. That's just common sense. Especially when you encourage the parents to keep them on the damn shocking device even after they left your hellhole. Just saying. Saying is all. I'm going to go ahead and close out on that because it's Halloween and I don't want this bastard to bring me down. I love Halloween. We don't get very many reviews on this channel, folks, especially on this subject. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. As always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Goodbye, everyone. Please excuse the roving mouse. Good God.